Greetings and welcome to the Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. We get together because we love experimenting, sharing information, trying new things, learning new things, and we sometimes do a little business as well. This morning our topic is going to be a little bit unusual for us. We're going to be talking about food. So, however, we usually do our introductions so that we can keep our elevator pitches going. So, Vivek, you were here first. Would you like to begin?
Namaste. My name is Vivek. Literally, it means wisdom and happiness. I am proud to share my belief with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said, simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. I aim to bring time-tested wisdom and happiness together into your business and life by unifying, simplifying, and amplifying simple technology and tools. Together at Wake, we wake up our potential. So that's my elevator pitch. I am in Reading, England, United Kingdom, and as you might have guessed, this get-up is, again, I am part of what Sadhguru is doing. He is now, at this moment, live talking in Geneva, UN.
Switzerland.
Yeah. He is talking at the UN, Geneva. Yeah.
Wow.
He's talking about saving the soil.
Yes.
Soil is important for the food production. Unless the food is produced, we can't be talking about food.
Isn't that the truth? Right on. And you're talking about your outfit as a get-up. I think it looks cool. So a get-up sounds kind of, I think you need to find a more positive word for your outfit.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're here. David, you have a different colored background this morning. I like that better. Yeah. So go ahead, David. You were next.
Hi, I'm Dave Flannery. I'm with Affordable Websites for Small Businesses in Rock Falls, Illinois, USA, where we provide an efficient local website and a simple but effective site. And that's as far as I got with my elevator speech. I'm getting my promise down. It's going to be rainy today and all sorts of fun stuff. And with that, I'm going to go back to you, LowellAnn.
Right on.
Oh, we are broadcasting on YouTube, as you heard.
Yes.
Quite well. Forgot to mute. Sorry. And Jivit is not in YouTube chat, which is strange. I hope everything's fine with her.
Yeah. Maybe I was going to say maybe she slept in. No. It's evening there.
Maybe she went to bed early.
Yeah, maybe. All right. Thank you, David. But I must say I like your, I think I like the red background better. I like that. So, Fred, welcome here. What did you think of the weird day we had here in Victoria yesterday?
Well, it couldn't. It's what I call schizophrenic weather. Couldn't make up its mind. It would rain, the wind would blow, then it would get sunny, and then it would. It just kept on. I didn't know what was going on. You couldn't make any plans. You thought, oh, it looks sunny. I'll take a walk. Oh no, it
Well,
was very strange.
did you get all the hail out your way?
I thought I heard hail, but I didn't see it because there's
Oh,
skylights here, and I
it
looked up
came
and didn't
down.
see it.
It came down here because I'm on my balcony. I mean, it was amazing. It was coming down in buckets.
No, didn't come like that. No,
Oh,
no.
yeah.
But it was something was beating on the skylight. But I looked up. I thought it sounded like hail, but it didn't look like hail. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Well, it was
Yeah,
hail.
it was crazy weather. That's for sure.
So your terminology does fit. And by and of course, I thought of you this morning because I watched the CBC last night's CBC News, and of course Elon Musk is in the news last night.
Oh, he's an interesting man. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Yeah. So Fred, would you like to do your introduction?
Certainly. I'm Fred Jones, creator of Our Future Leaders, where we assist a younger generation to gain communication and leadership skills, to give them self-confidence, to help change the world, to make it a better place. And certainly with what's going on in the world, climate change and all those things, that's certainly something that they're going to have a lot of challenges. If anybody knows of anyone who would be interested, I have lots of material, anything from talking to children from half an hour to running a club every week, everything. If they're doing summer camps, I've got different suggestions that they can help them with. So I look forward to hearing from anyone. And I'm in Langford next to Victoria, which you could guess because where LowellAnn is, we were talking about the weather. So it's strange weather. We're still having a bit of rain and who knows what. 6 degrees apparently here.
Well,
Thanks, LowellAnn.
I'm really looking forward to spring. I really need spring. Not this thing that can't decide what it is. Is it winter? Is it spring? So, David, I see your hand up. I'm guessing because something has shown up in YouTube.
Yes, Jivit has shown up. And
Ah,
she says, hello, everybody. Good day to you all.
well,
Good
thank
day to
you,
all.
Jivita. Welcome here. And I sure wish you could join us because I'm sure our topic you will have something interesting to share. Oh my goodness, my system is my other screen just went blank, and it says low system resources may affect your audio quality, but I'm not even seeing. Oh my goodness, what happened? Well, we will see. OBS just disappeared. Oh, well, we'll just carry on and see how that turns out. So, Alanna, welcome here. How are things in Ireland?
Probably similar to what you're getting there in Canada, because we're getting all different weather in one day: hail, rain, sleet, and snow. So it's just product of springtime, I guess. Mother Nature is still trying to figure herself out. Hi, everyone. My name is Alanna, coming to you from Ireland, and my company is ALB Digital Marketing Solutions, where I write content and copy for small businesses to increase sales and conversions.
Right on. And you've been busy of late, I gather.
I have. Unfortunately, I've had to miss our sessions the last few weeks, but I had to jump in today, and hopefully I can stay for the whole thing. But I'm heading to a theater thing that I joined later tonight, and I have to print out the seating arrangements and the people who bought tickets and all that because I'm working the box office. So yeah, if I leave, that's where I had to
Right
go.
on. A theater group. How cool is that?
It is. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of
Uh-huh.
fun. And it's once a year, and I just joined in September, and so the show is running this week. And so yeah, I have to be there every night
Oh.
this week because the show's running every day this week. So I think they're closing on Saturday.
Mm. Right on. What is the show?
Sound of Music.
Oh, you're kidding. Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
it's been fun, and so the shows have been. Luckily, the couple of the shows are sold out, and there's still tickets available for some of the other shows. So that's why we have to print out all this stuff so that if we need to sell seats at the box office, we have a seating chart. So
Yeah. Is it all in person or some of it online?
no, it's all in person.
That's all. Mm.
Yeah, the theater holds about 325 people, I think.
Mm.
So yeah, we have a band and everything. It's very high. It's very
Whoa. Ooh,
yeah,
ooh, ooh.
band and lighting and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Right on. Well, I'm glad you were able to join us at least for as much as you can. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I do have to leave like smack on 6 if I can't run any later than 6 o'clock tonight. So.
Yeah. Right on. So I will finish off with my elevator pitch. I love supporting third agers, retired third agers who are experiencing overwhelm, uncertainty, and procrastination as they take the first steps toward creating their online business. With my solopreneur coaching service, you get to choose the level of support that makes the most sense to you. Done by you, done with you, or done for you. So to find out more, visit my website, LowellAnn.com, which you can see on the top of my screen. So, I don't even remember why we decided we needed to talk about food. However, I thought, how could what sort of an approach could we take? So I chose the topic, our favorite foods. And as we were chatting about that yesterday, it came to me. So I think the question is, what determines a favorite food? Anybody? Well, I can start off and tell you what determines my favorite food. It has to do with where it came from. So I came from the maritime provinces of Canada. That's over on the east coast, where lobster fishing is a very, very, very important industry. And so lobster is my favorite food. Do I get to have it very often? No. But when I do, and I was able to have a major lobster feed back in September when we traveled down there. So that was just an amazing experience. So I think there are I can think of other things that make it favorite. One of them is that I remember my grandfather, when lobster season was open, all the various restaurants along the coast would be featuring lobster dinners or whatever. And I remember that was one thing my grandfather always took the whole family out for a big lobster dinner, a big formal lobster dinner in a restaurant. So it's not only where I come from, but it's kind of childhood memories as well. Yeah. So Now, I know there are all kinds of other things that determine a favorite food. So, who's got a favorite food that I would like to talk about and how they got it? So, David, you got your finger up.
Yeah, my favorite food is lasagna with meat and Italian sausage, or with ground beef and Italian sausage. And that started when I was a very little boy, and with my mother making it. Actually, my grandmother made it before she died, and my mother took over. Um, I was fairly young, so I don't remember having too much interaction with my grandmother. But my uh, mother made the lasagna, and I grew up with that. And like you, I don't have it very often because it's not the best thing in the world for you. It's great tasting, but it's not the best thing in the world, and you can't eat it every week. I will sit down and we'll make a batch, and I'll have like 4 pans full, and then I'll freeze it, and then about once a quarter I have lasagna.
Okay, so it's a family thing for you, as it was partially for me. Not just family for me. It's more than that, but it does involve that. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah, Alanna.
I don't have an absolute single favorite. I have a lot of them, but I'm going to piggyback off your lobster story because when I was a teen, my uncle had lobster pots. And so in the summertime, he would put them out in the bay in the Atlantic. And I would check pots with him. Me and my brothers would check pots with him. And then he would sell them, give them away, and whatever we wanted, we would have lobster quite a bit in the summertime. So, but then Italian, my father's side is Italian, so lasagna was a big part of my life as well. So all the Italian stuff and sausage, I can't get that here, so I make my own. So yeah, so a lot of the stuff that I can't get here, I try to make it myself. I can't do that with lobster, but we can get lobster off the coast of Galway, and there's an online site that we've ordered from before that will send us lobster. So I'm not completely without. When I go to the States, that's when I have my gastronomical vacation.
Well, and the thing is, I could order lobster here as well, but it's so expensive now.
It is. It's one of those things you only have now and again. But like when I go to the States, I can get it for next to nothing. You know, buy them at the market and boil them yourself or steam them yourself.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I can see myself see us going down to the pier where the lobster boats came in, and you could buy a lobster right off the boat. Yeah, for $1 a pound, which is not that anymore.
No.
Yeah, right on. So it's sort of a family thing for you as well, and where you came from.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else got a favorite food? What about you, Fred? Do you have one?
Oh, like everyone, I have lots of them, but I guess if we have to have a story about it, apple pie and ice cream. I have a sweet tooth. But the reason I really started liking apple pie and ice cream, on the West Coast we have the white spot restaurants. Mm-hmm. And I was going to UBC, University of British Columbia, and I ended up working in the newspaper, and we put the newspaper to bed 4 nights a week because it went out. It was from Monday to Thursday night because the newspaper came out Tuesday to Friday. And I used to get a little food coupon to go. That was the perk.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we've just lost Fred. We can't hear you, Fred. Oh, that's too bad.
No.
Oh,
Did you hear any of that? Did you hear any of that?
up to a certain point, and then you went blank.
I'm gonna change computers because I thought I'd try the Chromebook, and it's doing the same old thing. I thought maybe I'd sorted it out, so I'm gonna switch back to another computer
Right
so
on.
that I don't have this issue. But I'm gonna before I do that, I'm gonna try and finish by turning off my camera
Okay.
because I used to go to White Spot Restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
and 4 nights a week would get apple pie and ice cream as dessert. And I loved the apple pie and ice cream. Then I go to South Africa, and there was no such thing as apple pie and ice cream.
Right.
They don't know what it is. So I come back to Canada, and I end up where there's no White Spot in Toronto for 22 years. In 2008, I come to stay in British Columbia, leave Toronto, and first thing I did, park my van and go to White Spot. And guess what? They didn't have it on the menu. I almost, after something like 40 years, I couldn't get my apple pie and ice cream. So I still like it, though. But I don't have it 4 nights a week. I have it about 4 times a year. It's my favorite. That's one story that I could tell you about. I got lots of other stories about food, but that's one.
Well, Fred, and of course, my favorite White Spot, it just closed. So nothing ever remains the same. So, Vivek, what about you? And I know what your answer is going to be, but and I think it's a good answer. So.
Yeah, I used to have a few favorite foods before I started on my journey with yoga and getting associated with activities that Sadhguru does. For me, no longer the food is no longer part of culture or religion, or food is what nourishes you. So whatever nourishes. And as far as I'm concerned, the tongue is has been it's part of the human anatomy, mainly because cave men or cave women wanted to survive while roaming around in the jungle and eating whatever is available. So the tongue was designed so that anything not tasting good is probably poisonous. So that was the main intention. So for me now, it is whatever nourishes me. So and it has nothing to do with being vegan, being vegetarian or non-vegetarian. It's what nourishes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Well, and I was happy that you brought that up, because I was thinking I mean, we all have certain favorite foods, but we all know that they may not be as nutritious for us as we would like them to be. And so, at least from my perspective, I decided a long time ago to not eat meat anymore. And it was not the decision was not based on a political idea like don't kill animals or any of that. It wasn't. It didn't have anything to do with that. It had to do with factory farming. And the fact that animals are produced en masse, and they are fed steroids and antibiotics, and I do not want to take those things into my body. So that was my decision. However, going back to where I came from, could I give up fish and seafood? No way. So I am what is known as a pescatarian. A person who eats fish but mostly plant matter.
Mm.
Yeah.
My kind of thinking is that we should eat food. I mean, whatever we eat, the thing is, whatever we eat, our body converts that into human cells.
Mm-hmm.
That is a miracle in itself.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't realize it, that is a miracle in itself. We eat whatever, bread, fish, meat, whatever, those cells get converted into human cells.
Mm-hmm.
So that process is, I mean, as a software developer, I see that as the characteristics of the cell are like the software it runs, and when you convert something into human cell, you are actually rewriting the software that is there in each cell
Mm-hmm.
to match your characteristics, human characteristics. So for me, for that to happen, if the raw material is simple,
Mm-hmm.
it has simple molecules, simple cell structure, it's easy for the body to convert that
Mm-hmm.
into human cells. So for that to happen, we should eat a food that is in the food chain. We have, if we consider to be at the top of the food chain, I mean, that's our determination. I don't know what any aliens would think of, but that's what we think. So we should eat something which is very nearer towards the bottom of the food chain. So that is plants,
Mm-hmm.
fish, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But as it gets closer to ourselves, those cells are difficult to reprogram into our cells.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where all the chronic diseases, all that cancerous things, that comes in from there. Our inability to convert those cells into human cells.
Well, and I think what comes to mind for me when you're saying that, it's for me, and I try to do this as much as possible, is to stay away from processed food.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is the other big thing. The more processed it is, the less likely you will be able to convert it into your own human
Mm-hmm.
cells easily. So your body ends up fighting all those chemicals and all that, and yeah, that's where you end up not being as active as you should be.
Mm-hmm. So now you raised the question of religion, and I heard something on the radio this morning that I found of great interest. I mean, I guess I knew a little bit about this, but not very much. So I heard something that I found very interesting and very thought provoking. So today is Ramadan. We are in the middle of Ramadan. The Muslim religion goes through, I think it's a full month of fasting. So their belief is they should rise before sunrise and eat something, and then have no food or water until after sunset. And that's a long time, and it's for most of us, we would look at that and say, oh my God, that is impossible. But this person I heard interviewed spoke about it as being something that she looked forward to because it allows her to go back to basics in the way she runs her life. And she sees that Ramadan and that the fasting, that whole thing, as a way to go back and review all of her life habits, and able to sort of put to make it work and be more supportive of her in the long run. And I thought, I knew about the fasting piece, but to hear her speak about it, even from sort of a North American perspective, how she still observes that and how she still finds it really useful and helpful in her life. I found that extremely interesting. And I wondered what it would be like to try to follow that regimen. I don't know if I would want to, but I wondered. I thought it would be interesting. It would be an interesting exercise to see, what you notice about what goes on in your body or what goes on in your life as opposed to that. So I found that was quite. I was happy I heard that, especially because we were going to talk about food today. So, now the other thing that arises, and this comes about as a result of a conversation I had with Jay yesterday, actually. He was asking what's your topic going to be tomorrow, and I said, well, food, but I was kind of quite far away from the whole thing about being a solopreneur or online business or whatever. And he said, I don't know about that. He said, if you want to be in business for yourself or online or whatever, one of the most important things is to keep yourself healthy. And so to have a successful life and or a successful business, then it is important to keep ourselves healthy. And so some of the choices that we make now, hopefully can to lead in that direction. So for me, I think I had a conversation with my walking partner, Robin. She's got a family visiting and having to cook lots more meals and all of that. And so I said, what's your favorite vegetable? And we were both having a hard time trying to determine what is a favorite vegetable. And then so we took it the other way. Is there a vegetable you can't stand? So that brought up some quite interesting conversation about like if you have a favorite vegetable, what is it and why? And if you don't, what is it and why? And we've already established that some of our favorite foods kind of go back to what we were exposed to as a child, or where we came from. And so that tells me that our joy in food is very emotion based. And so yes, if we look at what is nutritional and all of those pieces, but the things that we really love the most is really got to do with emotion. And it was a really interesting conversation exploring that. So Alanna.
I also think it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
It has a lot to do with that. And I say that because when I first moved to Ireland, potatoes is a huge staple here. And I'm not really a big fan of potatoes. I like them, but I wouldn't serve them with every meal. I wouldn't eat them with every meal, but it's a staple here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think a lot of it has to do with the culture that you're raised in as well. You know, like I remember when I was a kid, my mother served us, what are they called? Lima beans, I think.
Oh yeah.
They're these little, they're little kidney shaped white beans.
Yeah.
And I think they were the most horrific thing I ever ate in my life. And I've never touched them since. And I won't touch them ever again because I absolutely hate them. If it was the last food on earth, I'd have a hard time.
So I have a story that goes along with what you just said. When I was growing up, it was squash. I didn't like squash. So fast forward till I was attending a Thanksgiving dinner at my then boyfriend's sister's family. You know, I was very flattered that I was invited to join the family for Thanksgiving dinner. Thanksgiving dinner, as we all know, is a big deal. So, and what did she serve but squash? It was a turkey dinner, a traditional, potatoes and gravy and squash, and you know, the traditional Thanksgiving dinner. And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, what am I going to do here? There is no way I can sit here and refuse to eat squash. What am I going to do? So I ate it. And I can still see myself saying, oh, this is really good. And of course, everybody else is looking at me. And of course, then I have to tell them the story. And it brought up lots of laughter and whatever. But then, I mean, that was a lesson learned for me. And so while I was raising my boys, they were not allowed to say, I won't eat that. I hate it. So the rule was, you don't have to eat it all, but you must try it.
Yeah, we had the same rule in our house.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but I must say that my youngest son still gets the shivers when he thinks of Brussels sprouts. So
now, see, again, it's all on how you cook something, right? Because I was the same. I hated them until my husband found this recipe somewhere in a Christmas cookbook, and he made it for Christmas one year, and now I love them. So I think, you know, if you change up the recipe, you might find that it's not as bad as you think.
Yeah. Well, and the minute you discover that your original emotion about that food was wrong, then you have to switch around everything. So
yeah.
So yeah. So but I agree with you that the foods we love are often very cultural based. Yeah. So, David, I see you waving.
Did you discuss Jivita's favorite food?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, it's very difficult. She says it's very difficult to say what her favorite food is. One is modak or modak. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Vivek might be able to help me out there. It's a sweet dish.
Yeah, that is, as far as I know, it's a dish made for, I mean, in my childhood, we used to have it when we had, during Ganesha festival. It's one of those sweet dishes which, I mean, during Ganesha festival there are multiple sweet dishes, so this is one of them, and it is modak. Modak is supposed to be a favorite of Lord Ganesha. So
what is in it?
As far as I know, it is coconut, jaggery, um, coconut and jaggery kind of minced.
What's jaggery?
Jaggery is a unprocessed sugar,
Oh, okay. Coconut and sugar.
and in it's you take a kind of a little don't know how to describe it.
It looks like a dumpling, kind of.
Yeah,
It's a fancy dumpling, is what it looks like to
yeah.
me, anyway.
But you don't dump it into anything. It is shaped like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a outer shell is made out of wheat typically.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah,
So-
a crust. So it's surrounded by a crust.
Yeah.
So it's a smaller version of a pie.
Yeah, but this one is completely sweet. There's nothing else in it. In terms of food value would be whatever the coconut provides you and whatever the sugar gives you, and the shell.
Yeah.
That is the food value of it. It is a sweet, as she herself says, sweet dish. Yes.
Yeah. Well, but
Sweet momos, she says.
sweet momo.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sweet momos. She's got.
yeah. So, so going back to this idea of food being cultural, and there being there's a lot that goes along with that cultural thing. Sometimes it's a special occasion, like you said,
Ganesha festival.
Ganesha festival. And I mentioned Thanksgiving, which is another special event that happens here. However, when Alanna mentions potatoes in Ireland, I mean, we remember back in history, the potato famine is what made a lot of Irish people move to the U.S. So the fact that potatoes were not available, especially if it was a staple, that would be a major thing. And I might say that on the East Coast, where I come from, Prince Edward Island is known for their potatoes. That's what they farm. It's potatoes. Yeah. David.
Jivita says, I mean, you can describe modak as sweet momos.
Sweet momos. Well, sweet tells me something. Momo doesn't. But one of the things that I have noticed about food, in line with this sort of cultural thing, in the Maritimes where I grew up, when I was growing up, there was, and in the Maritimes there were not a lot of people from other countries. You had Acadians and you had English, and that's about it in those days. And so everything was meat and potatoes, and whatever grew, whatever was seasonal. So turnips was one, potatoes and cabbage. Those were. But then, as Canada started welcoming more and more people from more and more countries, all of those traditional foods came with them. And to me, it's the best adventure anybody can do is to go and try out have a meal that comes from another culture. So here in Victoria, we have Chinese, we have Japanese, we have Italian, we have First Nations, we have, I mean, when we get to try all of them, and yes, we have Indian restaurants as well. We call them Indian restaurants, and although some of them are not from India. I think there's one restaurant, the lady was from Pakistan. So I don't know whether the she seemed to say that the favorite recipes were a bit different between those two countries. So
Yeah, in India, if you go 10 miles away from where you live, you will have a different style of food creation.
Yeah.
So it's such a diverse country. So yeah, it's too many variations.
Yeah, well, that's good to have lots of variation. So, Alanna.
I was just going to say one of the thing I think that connects people and cultures is food, music, and books. And those three things you can normally find some thread of commonality with.
Yes.
So that's one of the things that's great about having a multicultural society, is that that's one thing that can connect you is through food and music and books.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I think Fred wanted to jump in too.
Yeah. But I agree with you. Yeah. Go ahead, Fred.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about South African. I lived there for 22 years, and they're very meat oriented. It's crazy the amount of meat. My daughter went there. She's vegetarian, and she went and asked for a meal that was vegetarian. They gave her a ham because, as far as they're concerned, that's not meat. So she said, "Well, I asked for a vegetarian meal." I said, "Yeah, no, it's beef and other ones." So it was quite crazy. That's typical. But Boerewors and Pap is something, and I can explain that to you. In fact, I can probably show you a picture if I can share my screen here.
Oh, go ahead.
Boerewors is farmer sausage, and it's on the barbecue, or as they call it, braai, or
yeah, it's a sausage.
And it, yes, but it's actually legal. There's a law on what it can be. It has to have at least 90% meat, and it can only have certain spices and so on, and permitted food additives. It's really, they've legalized it. They're so into this Boerewors. Now you see some tomatoes, and there's some onion, I think, on the top.
Mm-hmm.
That is what they use to make the sauce that they put over the pap. And pap is P-A-P. And let me just stop sharing the screen here because it's just scrolling like crazy. Did you see my screen? I assume you did.
Yes,
you
we did. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So pap is actually mealie meal, which is corn meal, ground up flour. And you make a porridge of it, but a very thick porridge. Mm-hmm. So it's very thick. And then you put the sauce over. And the sauce is tomatoes and onions, and I don't know what else, but that's it. And then pour that over, and you have your Boerewors and pap. And you could have got it Boerewors and here in Victoria, because there was a little store run by a fellow from Cape Town for years.
Oh, really?
And he imports all sorts of things. And but they don't import the Boerewors. They have butchers that make it in the area with the recipes, and you could buy it. But now he just closed down this few months ago.
Oh.
Yeah, they sold it. Now you can buy online, but I don't know if you can. And they deliver, I guess. Mm-hmm. But it's not the same. I used to walk in there and go and get all the different foods from South Africa that he imported. Chocolates and cookies.
Was that the one on Yates?
It was called
Was that
Aubergine.
on Yates?
No,
on Yates? No.
No, it was in something village near Victoria High, whatever you call that little village.
Okay.
And it was
Fernwood Village.
Fernwood, yeah, that's right. Fernwood Village, and he had all sorts of, and he has, So I used to go there occasionally when I needed a fix, South African food fix, just to get some of the stuff.
So, but what?
Boerewors and pap.
but this is a really interesting way to think about food, especially Alanna. You were
Yep.
saying the thing that brings everybody together is food,
Yes.
quite
Yes.
often, you know, when you get invited to you know, a certain kind of cultural thing, I don't know about you, but I feel really honored and excited to you know, to get an opportunity to learn more about it and etc. And so therefore, like one of the first things I remember about being a vegetarian was that if you try to be a vegetarian in a place where Fred was describing, it's really difficult. So here in Canada, if you're on the prairies in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, it's almost impossible to find a vegetarian meal because they grow a lot of beef, especially in Alberta. So try and get a vegetarian meal there. Whew. So then I remember coming to Victoria, left coast, sort of left every, and I remember going out to various functions, and this was really interesting. There would be a buffet, and you would let people know ahead of time that you were a vegetarian, so they needed to have vegetarian meals. Well, suddenly, if you know, they would line up and go to this buffet, and by the time you got to the vegetarian part, it was gone because all these people that were not vegetarian were so curious about what you would get as a vegetarian meal, they would want to try it. And so the vegetarians, by the time they got to it, it was all gone. So that was quite a few years ago. Now, pretty well every restaurant you attend here in Victoria usually has a couple of vegetarian items on the menu. So it's so, but I would like to ask everybody what they do from the food angle in terms of staying healthy so that they can have a healthy life, a healthy business, and etc. Anybody?
I tend to have as much fruits and vegetables as possible, and I always try to avoid any form of even chicken, fish. I try to avoid all of them. I have never eaten anything beyond chicken anyway. Turkey maybe, but not.
So it sounds like you're following what is known as a vegan diet.
Yeah.
Well, there are lots of people doing that, and if you watch online, there are tons of people putting out very interesting vegan recipes. Yeah, right on. Who else? David? You are muted.
I'm switching. I've gone to a shake in the morning as opposed to a breakfast, and it's spinach and almond milk and fruit, frozen fruit, and other stuff that goes with that, and trying to lose weight, which I'm not. It's almost as bad as quitting smoking. Trying to lose weight. I mean, it's tough. You know, everything I do just I either stay even or I gain a little bit more. So I've got to get something going that works. I'm not looking for it to be all gone in 10 minutes, but I would sure like to see it start going away. And I'm hoping this summer I'm going to be a little more active. So I have a bicycle that's all in good repair now and everything, and just waiting for it to warm up a little bit more. And hopefully I can get that going and riding around on that. So,
well, David, maybe you need to try a Ramadan. See if you could fast for a month.
I don't know if I could do that.
I don't know if I could either, but
after I'm hungry for so long, I start getting headaches, and that's very, very unpleasant. And I don't know if that would just last a day or two, or what, or just getting used to it. I could see doing something like that, but instead, in the middle of the day, having another shake instead of eating eating my leftovers. What I've been doing is I have my shake in the morning, then I have leftovers for lunch, and then I cook a meal. Now, and once in a while we have leftovers for supper too, because leftovers get building up and then they spoil, and I really hate wasting food. So I really gotten into the habit of making sure that I'm cleaning out the refrigerator and not throwing away food, and making sure the leftovers are visible. I've learned how to make frittatas, which are, you use leftovers and throw eggs on top of them and cheese and a bunch of spices, and it's never the same thing. It's just whatever's in the kitchen. And those are coming out really good. So, but I still eat meat. I don't eat as much of it. I still eat chicken, and I don't eat as much. The only fish I really like is called walleye. And, I'm sure LowellAnn has heard of it. And Fred, it's a very popular fish up north, loves cold water. And that's the only fish I really enjoy eating. And it's expensive to buy here. So it's something that we've done. With the meat and the chicken, I've gone to buying stuff that's not got antibiotics and hormones in it and whatnot. And the big thing around here is watching for non-GMO, I think is what it's called, vegetables, because they're doing some stuff with vegetables that is way past what they did with the cows with the hormones and the antibiotics, because I mean they're changing the DNA of the plants.
Yeah, I know.
And whatnot. So I'm pretty careful with that. I try to buy organic if I can. Here again, budget restrictions sometimes, especially now, have been forcing me to go back to some of that other stuff, because otherwise I don't have vegetables. And I do buy a lot of fresh vegetables now. I don't. I still use canned green beans, but everything else I pretty much buy fresh.
Right on.
So I got my asparagus in the refrigerator waiting for tonight.
Yeah. So Fred, you were waving.
Yeah, I have a regime that I don't know if would work for anyone, but it works for me. I fast 6 days a week, and I've been doing it for years, and it's certainly helped me a lot. I don't have breakfast. I start eating at noon. I have a sort of a snack, not too heavy. It's really just almonds, dark chocolate, and some dates. That's how I break my fast at noon. I don't eat until noon, and last meal I try and have by 8 o'clock. So that gives me 16 hours that I don't eat, which is similar to probably even longer than Ramadan. And I've been doing it for years. It's certainly helped me a lot. I've lost some weight. And the other thing is I have my blender meal, which if you ever saw my notes with Nomad, I have a blender meal. I have that 3 to 4 times a week, and there's 15 different items in there. that are all, in my opinion, pretty healthy. It starts with coconut milk and flax seeds, wheat germ, collagen powder, super greens, bran,
Mm-hmm.
granola, oats, olive oil, kale, banana, mixed berries. By the time I finish with that thing, it's
Mm-hmm.
a meal in itself. It's an enormous meal.
Mm.
And that's my main meal of the day, 3 to 4 times a week.
Your main
And that's a
meal in the evening, or
in the evening. In the
yeah.
evening, I
Mm-hmm.
have my normally my rowing, gets in there. I depends what time of day I row,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't eat too much before I row. So
No.
I have the
Mm-hmm.
snack, and then I have after rowing, then I have the main meal.
Mm.
I eat very little meat. Once a week, I break my routine, but I don't eat meat other than once a week. I might go to local fast food and have a burger.
Mm.
That's it. But that's on Wednesdays when I go shopping. That's it. So I really cut down on meat, and I have
Mm-hmm.
this regime, and I have this. I've been doing it since 1979. This blender meal, when I met an American in South Africa who told me about his blender meal, and I sort of copied him. It's changed totally now, but he was telling me about nutrition and how it had affected his children. How he, by just having them eat healthy, it really
Yeah.
changed their lives. So
Oh yes.
he convinced me to do it, and I've been doing them.
Mm.
My children know. Like my daughter in Australia has a blender for me. She has, uh, you know, she bought one because I break them if they're not the expensive ones,
Yeah.
because
Right.
I wear them out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So that works for me. But my daughter tried. It actually works, I think, better for men, this fasting, not for women. My daughter in California tried it. I didn't tell her to. She just said, "Oh, I'll try this fasting." She said her hormones went crazy. She couldn't do it.
Wow.
So
Interesting. Yeah. Well,
cut
I
down.
certainly do something similar to what David and both of you to create a shake as an alternate. Yeah. So, David, you were waving. I'm guessing that you've got something to share from Javita.
Yeah, Javita's asking, any idea what favorite food of Jay?
No,
I have none
I haven't the
whatsoever.
faintest idea.
Um, and I have to leave at 12, which is
Yeah.
right now, so I
Yeah.
need to go.
We are at
Everybody have a great week.
we are at the top of the hour. But Alanna, I think you were waving as well. You had something to say.
No, I was just going to say, Fred, I have tried the 2 meals a day, and it works really well for me, but it's a disciplinary thing. And I think when you're on vacation, it's really hard to maintain that. But, certain foods will make you feel certain ways. Like if you eat too much sugar, you get tired, too much coffee makes you hyper, all that sort of thing. So for me, I stopped eating meat in January. I do have the occasional burger, and I probably will have an occasional burger, but it's not going to be a staple in my life anymore. So I'm kind of focusing on food that, fuels the machine as opposed to emotional eating or anything like that. So that's kind of my main focus.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to go too, unfortunately. So
Yeah. I know you do.
all right, I'll talk to you guys next time.
Yeah, okay.
What's for dinner, Alanna?
Chicken.
I
Right.
thought you were
Chicken
going
and
to say.
broccoli and potato.
I thought you were going to say leftovers and.
No, you know what? I actually
That's
made
what
this
you
meal
say.
earlier. I made this meal at 3:00 because I have to leave, and so I have to leave something for my husband when he comes home because we're going to miss each other again. So I made that meal at 3:00. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah.
See you, Alanna.
See you.
I
Yeah, so it is really interesting how we are all becoming more conscious of what we eat, and I have to say I'm becoming more conscious of sustainability, being able to what needs to be done in order for us to feed ourselves, and I do want to support and acknowledge the work that Sadhguru is doing about saving our soil, because that is going to be what we need to pay attention to in order for us all to survive and eat the way we need to.
Yeah,
So-
because quite a few United Nations studies, they are saying that in a few years the food production will go down by 40%, and our population at the same time will rise to 9 billion people.
Yeah.
So imagine a situation where population has gone up 9 billion and food production
It's going
as
down.
as it is now going down 40%. That would be a disastrous time. So, and what's happening in between Ukraine and Russia is the beginning of that. The reason why it is happening is actually for wheat, not really for political reasons, even though that's what they project it as, but it's for wheat.
Well, I know that the Ukraine is known as the breadbasket of that area. Yeah. Well, so it is. I don't want us to end on a negative note.
It is a positive one in the sense that we have to do something,
Yes.
and we have the chance to do something.
Yes.
And all these food producing countries have been thinking that soil is just soil, you just throw some fertilizers and chemicals into it and it will work. No, it doesn't. The crop that you grow may look big and fat and all that, but it doesn't have any nutritional value.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for that to happen, you have to take care of the soil. So
Yeah. I agree.
Sadhguru is on a mission, and he's
Yeah.
now in Geneva. So every day he's in a different country. He's riding his motorbike right through Europe and Middle East, and then he'll end up in India. His tour is about 100 days. So.
Interesting. Really, really interesting. Okay, so I don't know, Fred, if you feel like giving a last word. I know you usually have a meeting to go to as well.
Well, I just think, it was very interesting. It is very cultural what we eat and why we eat. And I think the real message is we're all paying a lot more attention to where our food comes from and what we are eating and what effect it has on us. It does have an impact. So I think it is a good message for all of us. Just become more aware. The challenge is there's so many different opinions that it's hard to agree on what is the best. But I think you listen to your body. Your body will tell you if it's good or not.
That's
That,
good advice.
you'll know. So that's the main thing I try. That doesn't work for me. I don't eat it. I haven't drank coffee for over 40 something years.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, don't drink coffee at all. Occasional cup of tea is what I have.
Wow.
That's it.
Well,
Because it didn't agree with me.
Right.
Wasn't agreeing with me, so I stopped it.
yeah. Well, that's yes. Listen to your body.
Yep.
All right, so thank you, Fred, for that. And I just want to remind everyone, as usual, that it's important to do what you love with passion, and to let you know that we're going to be talking about social media platforms, a variety of them, and which ones work for people who are doing online business. So with that, I hope we'll see you again next week, and I hope this all went, because my computer did some very funny things here, but I will hit the outro out for